If you're not getting rich by your 30s, you're doing it wrong. That's not a motivational quote. It's a wake-up call from MJ DeMarco's The Millionaire Fastlane. Most of us are told to save slow, retire old, and maybe, just maybe, enjoy life at 65. MJ says, screw that. This audiobook is your shortcut out of the financial dead end most people are stuck in. You know the path. Work 40 plus years, save diligently, and maybe retire rich when you're old and gray. But what if you could break free from that grind and design a life where money works for you now? In this summary of The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco, you'll learn how to ditch the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle and instead build a business or system that generates wealth while you sleep. We'll explore how to spot real opportunities, avoid time traps, and create value that scales. Whether you dream of launching a digital product, starting a service, or building an app, you'll walk away with a practical framework, the Sense model, that shows you exactly what makes a business Fastlane worthy. You'll hear real-world examples, step-by-step breakdowns, and rapid-fire recaps that keep you on track, even if you're listening while doing laundry or commuting. It's not just a summary, it's a mindset reset. You'll finish this audiobook thinking bigger, moving faster, and feeling more in control of your financial destiny. And no, this isn't another just follow your passion fairy tale. This book is brutally honest, sometimes controversial, and exactly what I wish I'd read in my early 20s. I go step by step through how I've personally been applying it, filtering opportunities, focusing on value, and finally ditching the 9-to-5 mindset. You can listen to this while multitasking, and I've broken it into easy chapters with timestamps in the description. There are also rapid-fire recaps throughout, so you can stay on track even if your mind wanders. Thinking about grabbing the physical book? Think of this as your free preview. If you love it, I've got the Amazon link ready for you below. Before we dive into how to take the fast lane to wealth, subscribe and drop a comment telling me where in the world you're listening from. Let's build this freedom tribe together. Chapter 1. The Great Deception. Let's start with a punch to the gut. You've been lied to. Not in a malicious way, more like the kind of polite lie your aunt tells you when she says you'll grow into that haircut. The truth is, most of us have been sold a dream that's actually a trap. We're told to work hard, get a good job, save diligently, invest in index funds, and then, if all goes well, retire rich at 65. It's called playing it safe. But here's the twist. Safe doesn't mean free. It means slow. If you've ever looked at your paycheck, subtracted rent, groceries, bills, and then wondered how you're supposed to become a millionaire on what's left, you're not alone. Millions of people follow this traditional path, grinding away in hopes of a distant reward. It's like being told the finish line is 40 years away, and then someone keeps moving it. MJ DeMarco calls this the Slowlane, and it's a cleverly disguised financial prison. Sure, you get weekends, a 401k, and maybe a Costco membership, but your life is built around delayed gratification. Meanwhile, the real riches, the time freedom, the dream lifestyle, those are reserved for someday. But what if that someday never comes? Let's zoom out for a second. Imagine two people start working at 25. One chooses the traditional path, Slowlane. He saves diligently, invests in mutual funds, and crosses fingers that the market holds up for 40 years. The other? She builds a scalable business, solving a real-world problem. She owns her time, reinvests profits, and by 35, she's financially free. This isn't fiction. It's the power of leveraged effort versus linear income. And here's the kicker. The slow lane isn't wrong. It's just dangerously incomplete. It assumes too many things go right. You stay healthy, your job stays secure, the markets perform, inflation doesn't eat your savings, and you don't burn out by 50. It's like planning your retirement on the assumption that the weather will always be perfect for 40 straight years. Good luck with that. So what's the takeaway here? Start questioning the script you were handed. Ask yourself, is this path getting me the life I want in the time frame I want it? Because if the answer is no, it's time to shift lanes. Welcome to the Millionaire Fastlane. Buckle up. Chapter 2. The Slow Lane versus Fast Lane. Let's be honest. When it comes to money, most of us weren't taught to think big. We were taught to think safe. Study hard, get a stable job, climb the corporate ladder, save 10% of your paycheck, retire at 65, and then, maybe, if your back doesn't give out, you can finally take that trip to Italy. Sound familiar? This path is what MJ DeMarco calls the slow lane. And while it's sold to us as responsible and mature, it's actually just a shiny version of financial quicksand. You move, just painfully slow. Worse, you're taught to believe that speed equals risk, while slow and steady wins the race. But let's flip the script. What if slow and steady just means delayed disappointment? Here's the core difference between the slow lane and the fast lane. In the slow lane, you trade time for money. You're the engine. If you stop working, you stop earning. It's like charging your phone with a hand crank. Meanwhile, in the fast lane, you build systems that work without you. You own the charger, the outlet, and the power company. Let's make this even clearer with a quick analogy. Imagine you're crossing the country. Slow lane, you're walking. Fast lane, you're building a rocket. Sure, the slow lane looks safer, less moving parts, no explosions, but the fast lane gets you there before you've burned out and given up. Now, don't get it twisted. The fast lane isn't about get-rich-quick schemes or risky crypto plays. It's about understanding leverage. In a fast lane life, your income is no longer tied to your time. You create things, businesses, products, apps, platforms that keep earning whether you're awake, asleep, or on a beach with no Wi-Fi. One of MJ's favorite examples? A guy selling gumballs. He buys one gumball machine and makes $10 a month. Not impressive, right? But what if he owns 1,000 machines? Suddenly, he's earning $10,000 a month passively. That's the fast lane mindset. Scale and systems over sweat and struggle. So ask yourself, are you building a system or just being part of someone else's? Do you own your time? Or is it owned by a calendar full of meetings and tasks? The slow lane teaches you to survive. The fast lane teaches you to accelerate. And the only way to shift lanes is to realize you've been stuck in traffic. Time to punch the gas. Chapter 3. Wealth is not a road. It's a formula. Let's clear something up right away. Wealth isn't a road. It's not some long, winding path you're supposed to walk your whole life until one day, magically, you arrive at the gates of financial freedom. That's the lie we've been sold. If you just keep working hard, avoid lattes, and wait patiently, one day you'll make it. But here's the truth. Wealth isn't a destination. It's a formula. And if you don't understand the formula, you're not going to get rich. You're going to get frustrated. MJ DeMarco pulls the curtain back on this myth in the Millionaire Fastlane. He argues that people treat wealth like a matter of age, like it just happens as you grow older. But that's like expecting a tree to grow without water, sunlight, or any effort to keep pests away. Time alone doesn't build wealth. Action, strategy, and control do. DeMarco introduces a simple but powerful truth. Wealth is math. Real, tangible, buildable math. The formula looks like this. Wealth is equal to net profit multiplied by asset value, multiplied by time, multiplied by control. Let's unpack that. Net profit is the money you actually make after expenses, not just revenue, but what stays in your pocket. Asset value refers to the long-term worth of what you're building. Can it grow? Can it be sold? Time in this equation doesn't mean how long you work. It's about how long your business can generate income without your direct involvement. And then there's control, the most overlooked variable. Do you control the outcome? Or are you just another cog in someone else's machine? Think about it like this. Imagine you create a simple fitness app that helps busy moms do quick 10-minute workouts. You spend a few months building it, then launch it. It starts making $5,000 a month. That's your profit. As users increase and you introduce a subscription model, the asset grows in value. You automate the onboarding, customer support, and updates. Now it runs mostly without you. And guess what? You're the one making decisions, not some algorithm or middle manager. That's the Fastlane formula in action. Compare that to someone working a stable 9-to-5 job. Their income is tied to their time. If they stop showing up, the money stops. And worse, they don't control the outcome. Their boss does. If the company restructures or the economy dips, they're out. That's not wealth. That's dependence. So here's your mindset shift. Wealth is not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep, how long it works for you, and how much control you have over the whole process. If you're depending solely on time and hope, you're not building wealth. You're just waiting for luck to strike. And let's be real, that's a gamble, not a strategy. In the opening chapters of the Millionaire Fastlane, MJ DeMarco dismantles the conventional path to wealth, what he calls the slow lane. Most people are taught to get a degree, land a job, save diligently, invest modestly, and hopefully retire rich by 65. But this path is painfully slow, full of assumptions, and often leaves people working their entire lives for a distant reward they may never enjoy. DeMarco calls this illusion the great deception, the idea that time and patience alone will make you wealthy. He introduces the idea that wealth isn't a destination, but a formula, a set of intentional actions involving profit, asset value, time, and control. Instead of trading time for money, you build systems and assets that generate income whether you're working or not. This shift in mindset sets the foundation for the fast lane, where speed, scale, and ownership are key. DeMarco also highlights the stark difference between the slow lane and fast lane mentalities. While the slow lane is built on scarcity, patience, and low risk, the fast lane is fueled by value creation, leverage, and taking control of your financial destiny. These chapters challenge readers to stop following outdated advice and start designing a life of freedom and autonomy now. Chapter 4. The 5 Fast Lane Commandments, Sense Framework. Now that you know wealth is a formula, not just a matter of waiting it out, it's time to figure out how to actually create it. This is where MJ DeMarco introduces one of the most important frameworks in the Millionaire Fastlane, the Sense Commandments. Think of it like your Fastlane cheat code. If your business idea doesn't check these 5 boxes, chances are it'll trap you in the slow lane, or worse, leave you broke and burnt out. But if it passes the Sense test, you're on the express route to financial freedom. Sense is an acronym that stands for control, entry, need, time, and scale. Let's break each one down in plain English. First, control. If you don't control the platform, the pricing, the product, or the customer relationship, then your business is at the mercy of someone else. For example, if your entire income depends on one Amazon listing or one Instagram page, what happens if the algorithm changes or your account gets banned? You lose everything overnight? Fastlane entrepreneurs own the road, they don't rent it. Next is entry. This is all about barriers to competition. If just anyone can start the same business tomorrow with zero effort, you're in a race to the bottom. High entry barrier businesses take effort to start. Think coding an app, manufacturing a product, or building a specialized service. It's harder, yes, but that's what keeps the copycats out. The tougher it is to enter, the safer it is to stay. Then there's need, and this is huge. Many people chase trends or hobbies thinking, I love this, so others will too. Wrong. Fastlane businesses are rooted in solving real, painful problems. No one wakes up at 2 a.m. desperate for another cat meme page, but they do stay up worrying about their finances, health, or relationships. Solve one of those problems, and you've got a business that matters. Time is the fourth commandment, and it's a big one. If you have to be there to make money, you're not in the fast lane. You've just created a high-stress job. Fast lane businesses separate time from income. That means automating, delegating, and building systems that run whether you're working or not. Last up, scale. Can your business serve 10 people or 10 million? A yoga instructor teaching one-on-one has a time limit, but a yoga platform that streams classes globally? That scales. Fastlane businesses aren't limited by geography, hours in the day, or how much energy you have. They grow exponentially. So here's your action step. Anytime you come up with a business idea, run it through the sense filter. If it fails even one commandment, rethink it. If it passes all 5, you've just found yourself a Fastlane vehicle. And in this game, the right vehicle makes all the difference between crawling to retirement and racing toward freedom. Chapter 5. Stop chasing money. Start chasing needs. Let's be real. Most people chasing wealth are actually chasing money. And that's exactly why they never find it. Sounds backward, right? But MJ DeMarco flips this entire mindset on its head with one powerful principle. Money is a byproduct of solving problems. In other words, if you want to get rich, stop focusing on the dollar signs and start focusing on needs. Here's the deal. The world doesn't pay you for your dreams, your effort, or your passion. It pays you for the value you provide. That's it. Money is like applause. It's the market's way of saying, thank you, that helped. So if no one's clapping, maybe you're not solving anything useful. Think of it like this. People don't care about your business. They care about their problems. If you're not directly easing someone's pain, making their life easier, or fulfilling a real desire, they won't pay you, no matter how great your branding is. That's why DeMarco urges you to stop asking, how can I make money? And start asking, what problems can I solve at scale? Here's a simple exercise. Write down 5 things that frustrate you every day. Maybe it's finding time to cook healthy meals, remembering birthdays, or organizing digital files. Guess what? Those problems aren't unique to you. Solve just one of them, and solve it well, and you've got yourself a business. The best ideas don't come from brainstorming in a vacuum. They come from paying attention to pain. Let's take a real-world example. Uber. The founders didn't start with the goal of getting rich. They started by asking, why is it so hard to get a reliable cab in big cities? They solved a need, and in doing so, created a business that generates billions. The money followed because the value was real, immediate, and impactful. Chasing money leads you to scams, gimmicks, and burnout. Chasing needs leads to trust, loyal customers, and scalable success. And here's the twist. It's actually easier to make money when you stop obsessing over it. Why? Because when you're obsessed with helping people, they can feel it. They share it. They buy into it. And they pay you, happily. So here's your challenge. Stop thinking like a gold digger and start thinking like a problem solver. Instead of digging for coins, start planting solutions. The money? That's just the fruit of doing something that matters. When you stop chasing money and start chasing needs, you don't just build income, you build impact. And that's what the fast lane is really about. Chapter 6. The business system that builds millionaires. At some point, every aspiring entrepreneur hits a wall. Maybe you've tried freelancing, side hustling, or selling something online, only to realize you're working more hours than ever and still not getting ahead. That's because you haven't built a business system. You've just created another job. And MJ DeMarco makes it painfully clear. If your business depends on you to function, you're not in the fast lane. You're just sitting in a slightly fancier traffic jam. So what is a business system? Simply put, it's a machine. One that delivers value, makes money, and runs with or without your direct involvement. It's not about doing everything yourself. It's about designing processes that handle everything from customer service to product delivery while you sleep, vacation, or binge-watch documentaries on how billionaires live. Let's break it down. Think of a business like a car. Most people start by being the engine, the driver, the GPS, the mechanic, and even the guy cleaning the windshield. But a real fast lane business? That's like building a self-driving Tesla. Once it's up and running, it moves without your constant input. You steer it when needed, but you're not pushing it uphill every day. Take Amazon, for example. Jeff Bezos didn't pack boxes himself for 20 years. He created a system. Warehouses, suppliers, algorithms, customer service, all linked together to deliver consistent results at scale. Or look at McDonald's. The founder didn't personally flip burgers in every location. He built a repeatable system that anyone could operate, whether in New York or New Delhi. That's the difference between hustling in your business and scaling above it. Now, this doesn't mean you never work. You will put in time, especially at the start. But the goal is clear. Build once, benefit repeatedly. Create something that adds value to people's lives, then systematize how it's delivered. Use tools, automation, delegation, and SOPs, standard operating procedures, to free up your time while the business keeps moving forward. Here's a key mindset shift. Stop asking, how can I earn more? And start asking, how can I build something that earns for me? That change alone puts you miles ahead of 99% of entrepreneurs stuck in solo hustle purgatory. The bottom line? Millionaires don't just build businesses, they build systems. A system doesn't get tired, doesn't forget things, and doesn't ask for weekends off. And once you have one running, that's when freedom really begins. Chapters 4 to 6 of the Millionaire Fastlane introduce the heart of DeMarco's strategy, building wealth through Fastlane-worthy businesses that follow the sense framework: control, entry, need, time, and scale. If your business idea doesn't meet these 5 commandments, it's likely to trap you in the slow lane or sidewalk. You need full control over your business, not relying on platforms like Amazon or Instagram. A high entry barrier to keep out copycats. A real need in the market to solve. Time independence so income isn't tied to your hours, and the ability to scale beyond yourself. DeMarco then shifts the focus from money to value. Most people chase money directly, but true wealth comes from solving problems at scale. Money is simply the byproduct of helping others. If you want to get rich, stop asking, how do I make money? And start asking, whose problem can I solve? Finally, he introduces the concept of the business system, a machine that runs with or without you. Freelancing and self-employment are just disguised jobs. To truly enter the fast lane, you must build systems that operate independently. The focus is on creating leverage, freedom, and long-term value, not just income. Chapter 7. The truth about time and leverage. Here's a harsh truth. If you're trading hours for dollars, you'll never be truly free, even if you're making good money. 6 figures, corner office, fancy title, you're still stuck in a time trap. The moment you stop working, the money stops flowing. And as MJ DeMarco reminds us in The Millionaire Fastlane, time is your most valuable, most limited asset. You can always make more money, but you'll never make more time. The real key to wealth isn't working harder or longer. It's using leverage. And no, We're not talking about financial leverage like borrowing money, although that can play a role. We're talking about time leverage, the ability to create outputs far greater than the inputs, using systems, tools, people, or platforms. It's about making your 1-hour produce results that would take 10 hours if done manually. Let's break it down. Say you're a personal trainer charging $50 an hour. Great, but you're capped. There are only so many hours in a day. Now imagine turning your workout method into a video course, selling it online to hundreds or thousands of people. You did the work once, but now it earns money over and over without additional time spent. That's leverage. Leverage turns the traditional equation on its head. It asks, how can I produce more for more people with less effort over time? You use code to automate tasks. You hire others to do repeatable work. You build a product once and then scale it infinitely through the internet. In short, you separate your time from your income. This is the core difference between the slow lane and the fast lane. In the slow lane, your income is tied to your effort. In the fast lane, your income is tied to your systems. The more you systematize, delegate, or automate, the more time you free up. And that's real freedom. Think about Elon Musk. He doesn't build Teslas by hand. He builds systems, factories, teams, processes that multiply his effort and vision 24/7. You don't have to be Elon, but the principle is the same. Create systems that extend your reach beyond yourself. So here's the challenge. Stop measuring success by how busy you are. Start measuring it by how leveraged you are. If your money stops the moment you stop working, you're still in the time trap. Want to escape? Leverage is your ladder. Chapter 8. How to Spot Fake Wealth and Bad Advice. Let's talk about something that's everywhere these days. Fake wealth. Scroll through Instagram or YouTube and you'll see rented Lambos, luxury vacations on borrowed credit, and self-proclaimed gurus promising you riches if you just follow their 7-step secret. It looks like success. It smells like success. But in reality, it's often just smoke and mirrors. MJ DeMarco doesn't hold back in the Millionaire Fastlane when he calls out the massive amount of bad financial advice floating around. And not just from influencers. This also includes the so-called safe advice from society, the media, and even your well-meaning uncle. You've heard it. Get a degree, work hard, max out your 401k, buy a house, retire at 65. That advice isn't evil. It's just outdated. It doesn't work in 2025. One of the biggest red flags of fake wealth is when someone flashes lifestyle but hides the system behind it. Real wealth is silent, structured, and sustainable. It's having a business that makes money whether or not you're on vacation. It's assets that grow in value while you sleep. It's freedom of time, not just fancy toys. If someone's trying to sell you a course on making passive income, but they make all their money from selling courses on passive income, you've spotted the scam. DeMarco also warns against taking financial advice from people who haven't actually built anything. Just because someone has a podcast or wears a suit doesn't mean they've lived the fast lane. Ask yourself, do they have control over their time? Have they created a system that scales? Or are they just repeating what they've read in someone else's book? Here's a helpful mindset filter. Follow the results, not the noise. Does the person you're listening to have what you want? Not just in terms of income, but freedom, impact, and control? Are they walking the walk or just selling the dream? And it's not just about dodging fake gurus. It's about protecting your mental bandwidth. Every time you follow bad advice, you waste time, energy, and possibly money heading down the wrong path. That's time you could have spent building your own system, your own fast lane. So here's the key takeaway. Real wealth doesn't always look like wealth. It's not loud, flashy, or trending. It's often quiet, disciplined, and built behind the scenes. If you want to join the fast lane, learn to look past the highlight reels and study the blueprints. Chapter 9, Your Fast Lane Roadmap. So far, we've torn down the myths of the slow lane, decoded the sense framework, and learned to spot fake gurus from real wealth builders. But now it's time to bring it all together. If you're thinking, okay, I get the concepts, but where do I start? This chapter is your GPS. The Fastlane Roadmap is MJ DeMarco's step-by-step guide to going from idea to income, and ultimately to freedom. It begins with mindset. That's the foundation. Before you build a business or chase any opportunity, you need to break up with the employee mindset. You're not trading time for money anymore. You're building assets. That means thinking like a producer, not a consumer. Stop scrolling for dopamine hits and start scanning for problems to solve. Step 1 is identify a need in the market. Remember, Fastlane wealth is built by solving real problems, not just following your passion. You don't need a revolutionary idea. You need a relevant one. Ask yourself, what frustrates me daily? What are people constantly complaining about? What are businesses or individuals struggling with that I could help fix? Next, create a product or service that solves that need. This is where most people get stuck, thinking everything has to be perfect before launch. But perfection is a trap. Your goal is to get a minimum viable product, MVP, out there. Something simple, useful, and testable. Then comes the feedback loop. Listen, tweak, improve. Then, build systems. Whether it's a website, delivery pipeline, email marketing flow, or customer onboarding, your business needs to function without you doing every single task. Remember, if you're the business, you're the bottleneck. Start documenting tasks, automating what you can, and hiring when it makes sense. Leverage is your new best friend. As revenue comes in, it's tempting to upgrade your lifestyle. But the Fastlane path says, reinvest first, reward later. Channel profits into growth, innovation, and improving your systems. Live like no one else now, so you can live like no one else later. And lastly, be patient with the process, but urgent with your actions. The Fastlane isn't overnight magic, it's compressed time. What might take 40 years in the slow lane could take 4 to 7 if you build wisely and act intentionally. You'll still face setbacks, self-doubt, and late nights. But this time, you're building something that works for you, not just something you work in. This roadmap isn't just a theory, it's a vehicle. And like any good road trip, it starts with one bold decision: to leave the traffic behind and take a lane fewer people choose. But those who do, they get there faster and freer. Rapid Fire Recap. In chapters 7 to 9 of the Millionaire Fastlane, MJ DeMarco dives deep into the mechanics of time leverage, wealth deception, and how to spot and follow the right financial advice. He begins by highlighting the trap of trading time for money. No matter how high your hourly rate, you're still limited by 24 hours in a day. True Fastlane wealth comes from leveraging time, building systems, products, or services that generate income without your constant involvement. Think apps, online platforms, or automated businesses that scale without burning you out. Next, DeMarco exposes the illusion of fake wealth. From social media flexing to financial gurus selling advice they don't follow, we're surrounded by the illusion of success. He urges readers to stop falling for appearances and start evaluating whether people actually live the life they promote. Do they have freedom, control, and lasting impact, or just rented luxury cars and flashy Instagram posts? Finally, he emphasizes the importance of filtering out bad advice, especially from people who haven't built real wealth themselves. If you wouldn't trade lives with them, don't take financial guidance from them. Real wealth is quiet, intentional, and structured. Not loud, lucky or fake. These chapters teach you to think critically and act strategically. Chapter 10. Living the Fast Lane. Life, you've made it this far. Through the mindset shifts, business models, and the hard truths about time, leverage, and value. Now comes the big question. What does life actually look like in the fast lane? What happens when you stop chasing paychecks and start owning your time, your income, and your choices? Let's start with a simple image. Waking up on a Monday because you want to, not because an alarm yanks you out of bed. You check your business metrics, not your boss's meeting agenda. You work on things that excite you, not things you're forced to do just to survive. That's the fast lane life. It's not about retiring early and sipping cocktails on a beach, though you totally can. It's about freedom of time, purpose, and energy, while you're still young enough to enjoy it. But here's the truth. The fast lane life isn't a vacation. It's a lifestyle of intentional design. It's about waking up with options, whether that's scaling your business, launching something new, traveling the world, or spending your mornings homeschooling your kids. You own the script. You write your schedule. You choose your battles. MJ DeMarco is clear on this. Fastlane success isn't just about millions in the bank. It's about the ability to say no to what drains you and yes to what lights you up. And that freedom doesn't come from magic. It comes from the business systems you've built, the value you've delivered, and the leverage you've created. In short, your life reflects the structure you worked hard to build. And here's where it gets interesting. Once you're in the fast lane, you realize the goal isn't just money, it's impact. You start thinking legacy. You ask deeper questions. How can I solve bigger problems? How can I mentor others? Of course, this life doesn't come without responsibility. When you own your time, you also own your results. There's no one to blame, no office politics, no performance reviews, just you, your choices, and your consequences. That's both terrifying and empowering. So what now? If you've absorbed everything this book offers, you've got the tools, the roadmap, the mindset. You don't need permission to start. The fast lane isn't gated. It's just hidden behind hard work, deep thinking, and bold action. This is your exit ramp. The slow lane will always be there if you want to merge back in. But if you're ready to live by design, not default, then grip the wheel, hit the gas, and build the life most people only dream of.